Hey there, everybody. Let's see who comes on in. Dr. Matt here, Chief Scientific Officer with CHOQ. Today, I would like to talk about, because I recently bought this shirt here. I don't know what these characters mean, but I know what these characters mean. Human. And the first thing that occurred to me whenever I bought this shirt was that it seems like it's of some utility to actually label yourself as a human, right? And yeah, of course you could argue that, we're also spiritual beings, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm here to talk about how to stay being a human, right? I won't necessarily comment a lot on whether or not other people want us to be human or not, or if there's some grand scheme for that purpose. I'm sure many of you may think that there is, and that's quite possible. I don't know, but it certainly does seem like, given how ensconced in technology we are and in the artificial, and how separated from nature we have become, we need as many reminders as possible of our humanity and as many tools and techniques. Stop wrinkling your forehead. That's hilarious. I love it. What a human thing to do, right? Wrinkle my forehead. As many tools and techniques as possible to remain being human, to keep being human, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. I just saw an article, actually a research paper earlier, on the effects of EMFs on the human body, specifically how they overload our antioxidant system. And as many of you guys know, right, so, just for y'all who don't know, I'm the CHOQ Chief Scientific Officer. My name is Dr. Matt Dorsey. I'm the guy who also formulates all the CHOQ products and answers the technical questions. But I just would like to say that one of the reasons that herbs are so important, and also healthy eating and getting in nature and all these other things, is because they actually provide antioxidants. We need antioxidants more than we ever have, because EMFs actually do generate free radicals, generate also the other term is reactive oxygen species, if you want to be really technical about it, right? But the more EMFs that we're bombarded with, the more difficulty we have on a cellular level, because we're more susceptible to free radical damage. And when you start to actually look at the action of a lot of these different important health promoting herbs that have been used for thousands of years, like rhodiola, or herbs that contain quercetin, which is a favorite, right? Or andrographis or astragalus. So many of these, Tonkat Ali, almost all herbs to some extent, but some to a much higher extent, rhodiola being an excellent example, have profound antioxidant effects, right? Antioxidant basically means it's something that quenches free radicals, right? And a free radical is it's a molecule that's going to try to steal electrons from tissues in your body. A lot of people don't know, actually, that our body uses free radicals as weapons. Our actual immune cells, our white blood cells, use free radicals as weapons to destroy pathogens, right? But a lot of different normal processes, normal physiological processes like mitochondrial energy production naturally produce free radicals, right? Lots of different chemicals can act as free radicals, toxic chemicals. And like I was saying, electromagnetic frequencies, they also have the tendency to overload us with free radicals, and they will wipe out our antioxidant supply, right? Now, as far as what EMFs are doing to us on other levels, on a psychoenergetic level, on a chakra level, on a meridian level, I know probably a lot of you guys are into that. I personally am. As I said, I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine, so clearly I'm all about meridians, right? But the thing is, the bigger picture here is that we're forgetting how to be human. We're forgetting what it's like to actually be human, right? We're detaching ourselves more and more from nature, right? And obviously I'm looking at you through this technological marvel called an iPhone right now, right? And using this service, which is fantastic. It's great. It's amazing. But it comes with a downside. From an elemental perspective, technology is the fire element. That's how I view it, right? So whether you're talking about Chinese medicine or Ayurveda or other systems that use the 4 elements or the 5 elements as in TCM, right? Fire is a very, very powerful dynamic element. I'm a Leo, I'm a fire sign, right? Which is why I don't mind being on camera. LOL. wrinkling my forehead again. But anyway, so long story short, basically, technology is the fire element. Fire is freaking dangerous, but it's also transformative, and you can do amazing things with it, right? You can cook food with fire, right? You can do all sorts of cool stuff with it. You can also burn down an entire town with fire. You can hurt people with fire. You have to be very careful with it. Technology is fire, and humanity is playing with fire. And we are depleting ourselves in a lot of different ways and disconnecting ourselves from nature. So the more we stare at screens, which again, hilarious and ironic because I'm literally staring at a screen right now to tell you all this, right? But I'm at least doing it out here, right? In a semi-decent spot, this nice nature trail here in Texas. But it's all about the responsible use of technology. So electromagnetic frequencies, they used to say, the old adage was, scientifically minded people would say, oh, it's not ionizing, therefore it can't be bad for you. I don't know how many of you guys have heard that, right? As long as it's not ionizing, right? Which means it can be really destabilizing. But non-ionizing radiation can be damaging. There is research on this. There's a really cool book called The Non-Tinfoil Guide to EMF. I suggest people read. I haven't even finished it yet, but it's great. It's got a lot of research in there. And again, if you want to protect yourselves from EMFs, many different ways to do it. So obviously some people like stones and shungite, and also, of course, orgonite, if you're into that. Getting out into nature, very, very important. Getting off your cell phone, but not right now until you're at the end of this video, preferably. But yeah, and then obviously our diet and the kinds of herbs and supplements we take in. Many of the actions of these different herbs are specifically antioxidant. And so that is the herb EMF connection, basically, right? The more EMFs we're bombarded with, the more free radical damage can happen, and the more we need to make sure that we have a steady supply of antioxidants. But that's on the biological level. On the psychoenergetic level, right? What's happening to us? Well, because of what happened last year with everything, we weren't going out as much, we weren't connecting human to human as much, right? That's problematic. Our communications are being filtered through technology and through different software and hardware, right? And when you filter something through software, right, then it takes on also to some extent the resonance of the conscious level of awareness or consciousness of the people who created that software. So, that's a factor as well, right? Everything's being mediated by a third party. It's not direct communication. Either mediated through a screen, which is not very mediated, or mediated through some kind of, social media service, right? So, yeah, The Non-Tinfoil Guide to EMF is what it's called. Yeah, really cool book. Not directly endorsing it or affiliated in any way, just a cool book that I think is great. And it's got a lot of excellent research in it. But anyway, so we haven't been connecting human to human as much as a result of, kind of just staying inside more. And obviously that's, everything's coming back, which is great, right? But we've been filtering ourselves, our communication through another medium. And that medium, I don't know if how many of you have ever heard of Marshall McLuhan, but he had a saying that was, the medium is the message. So the medium is the message basically means that, it's just another way of saying that whatever the communication medium is has a profound effect on what we're saying to each other and how we're saying it, right? So increasingly we are a race that is kind of obsessed with technology, right? We have created all these amazing technologies, but we use them in a little bit of an obsessive way, right? A tool, if it's really a tool is something that you can pick up. Oops, sorry about that. A tool is something you can pick up or put down. A tool is not something that you have to use all of the time necessarily, right? It should be something that you can either use or not use. And we have gotten so used to our tools. I mean, imagine if, when your power goes out, just how difficult that is to exist, right? So anyway, how many different ways can we remind ourselves that we're human, I guess is the big question, right? And again, we can look at this from different angles, different layers. You can look at it biologically, right? How do we restore our humanity biologically, So on a biological level, our endocrine system is extremely important, right? One of the reasons that CHOQ started with supplements that are specifically for endocrine health, like Shilajit, for example, being one of our favorites, right? To tonify the endocrine system, to make sure that your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the connection between your brain and your adrenals, or the HPO, hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis for women, or also there's a connection to the testes for men, right? There's a connection between brain and all your different glands that secrete your stress hormones, your reproductive hormones, things like that. there seems to be a major issue with the endocrine system for whatever reason, whether you think it's being done on purpose or not. Again, that's not, I don't comment as much on that personally, but there is a serious problem with chemicals affecting the endocrine system. And when our endocrine system doesn't work very well, then that actually affects our humanity. It makes us, can sort of, in a sense, suppress our humanity, make us less of who we actually are. So that's more on a biological level, right? But I think specifically on a psychoenergetic level, what we're going to find is, and you can find there's lots of studies out there that show that when we reconnect to nature, it has profound effects on the body. We have on the CHOQ blog, for example, I wrote a blog about earthing, also known as grounding, right? When you connect directly to the earth. I'm not actually barefoot right now, but I probably should be. Actually, here, I'm just going to take my shoes off right now. It's like practice what I preach. And go ahead and connect to the earth here. But earthing, for those of you guys who are already down with that, that's awesome. If there's a few of you who don't know, or maybe you're more scientifically minded and you want just the proof right there, there is a lot of really cool research on earthing. You can check out go to CHOQ.com/blog and check out the earthing article that I wrote. So what happens when we earth? Well, again, it goes along with that whole EMF free radical damage thing, right? It's another way to get free electrons in your body that then will quench the free radicals. So when you do earthing, again, these free radicals are quenched by the electrons that are actually flowing into your body directly from the earth. The earth has a negative charge. It has plenty of extra electrons. They actually go directly into your skin, and they can actually circulate through the body. That's the theory of how it works. But scientifically speaking, again, in that article, there's a lot of references to different studies where they've shown that earthing can reduce inflammation. It can help with tissue healing. It can strengthen your circadian rhythm, or tonify rather, or balance circadian rhythm. Huge effects. Another one is actually getting sunlight into your eyes. So there's research showing that when you block UV, obviously UV can be destructive in large amounts, but in normal amounts, if you don't have any at all coming into your eyes, that has huge effects on your endocrine system. There was a veterinarian from a long time ago who did research where he actually put goggles on different animals, and then he saw that it reduced their fertility, right? So getting a normal amount of UV even in through your eyes, for those of you guys who like the pineal gland, right? Because who doesn't, right? Speaking of psychoenergetics and third eye chakra, ajna, and all that, the pineal gland is a magnetoreceptor organ, right? Which just means that it's extremely sensitive to magnetic fields. Again, I'm just talking hard science right now, not even talking like, out there kind of stuff at all, which I'm cool with things that are out there too, but hard science. Magnetoreceptor, right? So here's a cool experiment they did. And now you have to imagine what EMFs and different weird kinds of electromagnetic fields are doing to our pineal glands. So if they take the pineal glands out of birds, they can't navigate anymore, because the birds' pineal glands are actually sensing the Earth's magnetic field lines. They did another experiment where they put people into a chair and blindfolded them. They spun them around a bunch of times, and they had them guess which direction they were going, just based off of just purely guessing. And their accuracy went down when they strapped a magnet to their head, right? So really interesting, right? So a magnet can disrupt our pineal function. Very fascinating, right? Magnets seem to be a hot topic right now, but won't get into that. But anyway, so basically, so not only is it directly sensitive to magnetic and electromagnetic fields, the pineal gland, but it connects to your eyes, so that when you have light coming in through your eyes, it actually, your eyes connect directly to your pineal gland through something called the retinohypothalamic tract, right? Connects your retinas from your eyes, connect to your hypothalamus and then to your pineal gland, the retinohypothalamic tract. So when you get light in through your eyes, it directly affects your pineal gland. So your circadian rhythm, for example, is affected by the kind of light coming in through your eyes. For example, if you're up late at night and you're on the computer and you're getting artificial light, especially blue light, into your eyes, that's going to suppress melatonin synthesis. So you're not going to be getting as much melatonin in, and it'll be harder to fall asleep, basically. Now, melatonin, by the way, just so you guys know, melatonin is not just for sleep. Melatonin also helps to regulate glutathione synthesis, right? Glutathione being your primary detox and antioxidant, your master antioxidant, but it also regulates the immune system. So that melatonin that your body's naturally making helps to support healthy immune function, and also has an antioxidant effect as well. But yeah, I think just the number one thing is we should all be asking ourselves, how can we be more human, right? By the way, incidentally, there is, just so you guys know, there is a pinned, if you're on IG or if you're watching this later on YouTube, there is a pinned comment here with a couple coupon codes. There's MD BOGO, MD because I'm Matt Dorsey, Dr. Matt Dorsey. By the way, I'm not an MD. I'm a DACM, Doctor of Acupuncture Chinese Medicine. I'm only an MD in the sense that my name is Matt Dorsey, but anyway, so MD BOGO, if you get 2 or more supplements in your cart, you basically get 50% off your cart. And then if you want a subscription for 35% off, it's MD 35 Life, and you get 35% off lifetime discount. But anyway, what's the name of your book? I don't have a book yet, but I am writing one actually. Probably won't be done for like 10 years. It's actually a science fiction book. But anyway, nice to meet you. Thank you for your services. Spiritual Assassin 444. Nice. 444. That's a good one. I'm a big fan of 333. That's kind of my lucky number there. But anyway, so how to keep being human? I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment on how you think you can keep being human. Again, the hilarious, ironic thing is that I'm talking to you through freaking technology, right? How hypocritical am I, right? But I think for my vision of the future, what I would like to see is I'd like to see humans wake up to the level of toxicity of some of these technologies that we're using, right? EMFs or just whatever it is. And to get to the point where we can, how can I follow you? Oh, just follow Get CHOQ. I'll be on here all the time. But yeah, so, how can we get to the point where we're actually conscious enough, where we're aware enough to really understand the effects, right, of these different technologies on the body, and to make technologies that are less harmful, right? That also applies to chemical engineering, right? So basically, on a chemical level, we have produced just hundreds of thousands of brand new unique compounds in the last 50 to 100 years. And the safety testing on these is really minimal, and you do have to wonder, what are we doing to our endocrine systems, with this, hard to say. But there is, plenty of interesting research out there. Anyway, yeah. So how else can we remain human, right? I don't know. I would think that, to me, what separates a human from an android, for example, obviously is emotions, right? I think emotional health is a really big one. That's pretty huge. Having human-to-human contact in person, with our phones on airplane mode, outside under the stars, things like that. That's a big one. Obviously, eating a diet that's made with real food, that's organic. It's a huge one. And I'm sure if you guys are on this channel, that's probably a huge part of what you're doing anyway, right? I'm sure that I'm preaching to the choir, so to speak, with all of this. But I really think there's something about wearing this shirt that I really like. I just love the fact that I can label myself human, so you just know that I'm definitely not non-human, because it's getting harder and harder to tell. There are people out there who want to merge with technology, and if you're watching this, you're probably not super interested in that. That's hopefully not where we're going. I think that's a horrible idea, personally. I'm guessing that probably there's 46 people watching. At least 45 of you probably agree with the statement that humans merging with technology is not the best idea, right? But yeah, I would just say, make a list. Yeah, we fam for sure, man. Make a list in your head of the different ways you can do it, and also to inspire your friends and family to be more human. The way we communicate with each other is huge. It's a huge deal. Texting is fine. But it's no replacement for real human contact. There's kind of like a hierarchy of humanness as far as how we can communicate. It's like the most human way to communicate would be, one-on-one communication, just, in the same room, just talking to each other like we always have, right? And one step below that would be like video teleconferencing, or just a telephone call, right? One step below that would be texting. One step below that would be like, comment boards on social media or something like that, right? Not that there's anything wrong with any of those, but we're getting farther and farther and farther removed and more filtered by software and hardware. And you'd have to wonder about, the level of awareness of the people who develop these technologies, and, does that have an effect on, I don't know. Who knows? Just saying. Maybe not. Again, very ironic that I'm talking about this through social media. And there's nothing wrong with social media. It does awesome things. It's great. Well, not to say there's nothing wrong with it, but, it's great for what it is, but it should be a tool that we can put down, Someone's asking, no, I do not have a method on removing that from the body. Unfortunately, I do not know. I just say that I'm again, sure, I'm preaching to the choir on this one, but I'm sure you guys know how absolutely critical it is to detoxify your bodies right now, for sure, right? And I'll tell you also, Apex Glutathione, which is my baby that I formulated, took many months to put together. That one we're going to have back up as soon as possible. So if you sign up for the CHOQ email, if you just go to CHOQ.com and just scroll down and sign up for the email list, we will let you know as soon as it comes back in. It's going to be, we're going to reformulate it where you have to take the NAC out, obviously, because of FDA, but we're going to put something else in there that's even better. We're probably going to use an herb that has a lot of other really cool properties for detoxification and nitric oxide support. So, but yeah, just make sure you sign up for the newsletter. And then as soon as we drop Apex Glutathione again, you will get the best possible deal on it. It's not unlikely for it to be either 50 or 60% off, something like that. For just that first run once we get a new product out there. So make sure you sign up for the email list. Also, we'll be posting a bunch of stuff on YouTube too. So, and yeah, I don't like to say over and over again, but just one more time, there is a coupon code if you're interested in a pinned comment there. Yeah, again, they all have MD on them. Just disclaimer, like I said before, because my name is Matt Dorsey. But yeah, as far as who I am too, if you guys didn't know, if you weren't here at the beginning, my name is Dr. Matt Dorsey. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I'm also a nutritionist, and I'm the chief scientific officer for CHOQ. So I'm kind of the guy that they ask all the technical questions, right? And then I'm also the guy who formulates everything, right? At the point that I started anyway. I didn't formulate every single product, but as of now I do. So yeah, I think also with respect to plants and herbology, connecting to plants, probably one of the most important ways to stay human. Humans have evolved with plants for a very, very, very long time. And, if you want to go to the more esoteric side of things, I mean, what better way to connect to the spirit of Earth than to take something out of the Earth and then consume it, right? There is amazing intelligence in plants. Amazing intelligence, in plants. So as far as how to protect yourself from EMFs and other sources, chemical sources of reactive oxygen species or free radicals, I can go through a few things that I take from CHOQ that are helpful for that. Action 2.0 contains rhodiola. The rhodiola that's in there is not just a regular rhodiola, though. It is probably about the best one we could find. If there's a better one out there, you let me know. It is wild harvested in Siberia, which is where it's supposed to grow, because it likes to grow in really difficult places. And it is HPLC verified to basically have a minimum 3% rosavins, which is one of the active compounds in there. But rhodiola, a lot of people know it's great for performance and for mood and all that. But one of the most important things to know for rhodiola is that it is a fantastic antioxidant, helps to activate different antioxidant pathways in the body. And a lot of these herbs, what they do is they actually just switch on genes that help your body produce more antioxidants. So rhodiola is a great one. Another really excellent one is quercetin. Quercetin's excellent for the immune system. Has some really cool antioxidant properties as well. We have a 20x absorption quercetin in CHOQ Armor. That's a great one too. But yeah, supplements is a great way to do it. Shilajit, obviously, which is in the CHOQ Men's Daily, as well as just standalone Shilajit, also has some of those properties. Shilajit, again, being excellent for mitochondrial function, things like that. Yeah, I would say if, any of our products, would be an excellent choice if you don't take any supplements, just to try a few and see how they make you feel. But even if you don't take our products and you just want to increase your humanity, one really easy way you can do it is you can use the elemental model, which is just, so I'll go based off of 4 elements instead of the Chinese medicine 5 elements. So we'll start with fire, right? So the fire element, right, is just going to be sunlight. So make sure you get adequate sunlight, right? And obviously, depending on your skin tone, you may or may not need to limit it more. So, do your research on that. Don't overdo it, of course. But sunlight, absolutely critical, not just on your skin to some extent, but also through your eyes, unfiltered by glasses or contacts. Sunlight, very, very important for humanity, important for your immune system. The effects go way, way beyond vitamin D, although vitamin D is a critical nutrient. It's actually a steroid hormone. It's not a nutrient at all, but we call it a vitamin, even though vitamin D it's a secosteroid. But it affects thousands and thousands of different genes. Really important. So number 1 is fire. That's going to be sunlight coming in onto your skin, a little bit through your eyes. Obviously not directly staring at the sun, but just being outside without anything covering your eyes. Very, very important for your immune system, for your endocrine system, and to make you human. The next element would be air. Making sure that you're actually getting enough air into your lungs and enough oxygen to your cells, right? Which also a lot of people don't know. I think most people might know that you need oxygen, right? Just to survive, right? But oxygen has a direct effect on your detoxification. You really need oxygen for your liver. The more oxygen you're getting through your body, the better your liver can work, because your liver needs a lot of oxygen to function. So that's number 2, right? So practicing also, it's not just exercising, which increases how much respiration is happening, but what do you call it? Making sure that you have, I just blanked. Oh, breath work. That's right. So I don't know how many of you guys do breath work, but that's a big one, right? So again, we got fire, which is sunlight, air, which is breath work, and just making sure you're getting enough, into your body, right? Mullein leaf is an excellent one. Yes, Spiritual Assassin, I take mullein leaf actually on a pretty much daily basis. Huge fan of mullein, yeah. Also, mushrooms in general tend to be great for the lungs. So cordyceps, which is in 7 Wonders, that's a great one. Reishi, also a great lung tonic, also in 7 Wonders. Those are excellent as well. But anyway, so then the next one will be water, right? And that one's really obvious, making sure you're getting completely clean water into your body, right? Making sure you at least have like a Berkey filter, you're doing RO water, something like that. Some people like to add minerals to your water. You can do that if you want. I like to just add a lot of lemon juice to my water personally. Also, the water that is in fruits and vegetables, it is in a structured form. It's going to be more hydrating according to some accounts, right? So that's very, very important. Having some raw fruits and vegetables in your diet doesn't mean you have to become a raw vegan, but having some raw fruits and vegetables in your diet, having a certain percentage, very, very important. So that's going to be water, right? And then let's see which one's left. Earth, right? So that's what's going on. I don't even know if you can see right now. Let's see. That's earth, right? That's earthing. So just being out in nature and being around the trees and the plants, right, has a huge effect just on a mental level, because this is where our bodies evolved to be, right? We did not evolve to be in rooms with perfect 90-degree angles, right, and artificial light and artificial sounds, artificial air conditioning. We did not evolve for that. There is a major mismatch between our genes and our bodies and how they function and the environment that we've created that's artificial. So getting out into nature and basically convening with earth, very, very, very important. But then, like I said, clearly, like I showed you a second ago, earthing, connecting electrically to the earth, right? And if you can't actually get outside and stand barefoot on the ground, then at the very least, you can try to do your best to get one of those earthing tools, earthing mats. Those are great too. So earthing mats are excellent. But yeah, however you can get out into nature, very, very, very important. But also, think about it this way. Plants are part of Earth. They come directly out of Earth, right? They live their entire lives in connection with Earth. So whether it's eating more plants or taking more, plant medicines, right? Or just, health promoting herbs, right? Like obviously that's my thing, being a medical herbalist, right? That's a really big one too. yeah, there are different places you get earthing mat. If you just type in earthing equipment or earthing mat online, that's awesome. Forehead on the ground. It's funny. All right, so let's go to answer some questions now. Going to stay on for just a little while longer. Feel free to ask me anything. I mean, I won't promise that I'll answer all of them because there's always a few that are, maybe not the best idea to talk about. But ask me anything you want about CHOQ supplements. What's good for fill in the blank, right? What's good for pre-workout? What's good for this or that? What's good for focus, right? Feel free to do that, and we'll just do that for a little while. Whatever comes to mind is fine. And while I'm waiting for those to come in, just remember you can go ahead and use these coupon codes here if you would like. I always forget about mentioning those, so I'd throw those back in there. Am I vegan? Tell you the truth, at the moment, I am not. I'm more pescatarian, but I think vegan diets can be awesome as well, so I'm not necessarily totally against it at all. I think they can be fantastic. I think everybody is different, though. Although my diet is very, very strongly plant-based. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and I eat small amounts of meat, primarily seafood, personally. But, if you're vegan and that works for you, that's awesome. I personally think veganism can be great. So definitely can be a fan. And I am actually, I am in private practice. I do actually do consultations for folks and do a lot of nutritional things like that for people. And I do recommend a plant-based diet for certain people. Seems to work great for some and not as well for others. Everybody is different. I always say, you don't want to basically do a one-size-fits-all approach necessarily, but, totally respect wherever you're coming from. It's all good. What is the best to take? How do we take the CHOQ supplements, empty stomach or not? Yeah, empty stomach. Where am I located? Oh, I'm in Texas. So when is it best to take? So empty stomach is fine as long as you don't have a sensitive stomach. Totally fine. But if you're taking like the full line, it's a ton of pills, you might want to have at least a snack or something to buffer it. Should I eat or drink before taking Action 2.0? I felt nauseous only when not eating with it. Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. If you are, if you have a sensitive stomach, then and you're not used to taking a bunch of pills on an empty stomach, it's going to be better to have some food with it for sure. Yeah. Let's see. I don't have recommendations for hot flashes, but what I will say is if you want to just support healthy hormones in general, Shilajit is an excellent place to start. It is kind of an endocrine adaptogen that helps to basically just strengthen the relationship between the brains and then the different glands. Let's see here. Yeah, Action 2.0. Yeah, if that one's rough on your stomach, definitely make sure to take that one with a snack. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so CHOQ, begin because we're a supplements company, just so you guys know how the law works. CHOQ is not something necessarily that, or any supplements company, you're not allowed to talk about treating diseases. So that's not something that you can discuss legally. What you can talk about is just supporting health. So to be legally compliant, that's what we talk about, So we're never treating diseases, basically. That's just kind of how it goes. I happen to have a lot of training in this stuff, so yeah. But yeah, we can always talk about supporting health. We talk about supporting endocrine system, supporting healthy digestion, supporting healthy immune system, all that sort of stuff. Shilajit helped my mom. That's awesome. Nice. Shilajit is fantastic. My mom takes Shilajit. My mom takes a lot of CoQ10 to support heart health, and I recently had her add Shilajit on top of the CoQ10. So I don't know if you guys know, but if any of you guys take CoQ10 in any form, whether it's ubiquinol or ubiquinone, Shilajit is highly synergistic with CoQ10. So every time you take your CoQ10, take Shilajit with it. If maybe your parents take CoQ10, for example, for heart health or whatever, your mom or your dad, maybe, obviously older folks, take a lot of CoQ10, right? Because they want to make sure their heart's healthy. Take Shilajit at the same time as your CoQ10, because we actually have research that says that it enhances the bioavailability of CoQ10. You can actually get more into your cells. But on top of that, not only does it help the CoQ10 work better, but it has its own action inside of the mitochondria. There are these compounds called urolithins. More specifically, they're also called dibenzoapyrones. I like urolithins better. It's a little bit less complex. And they actually have an almost CoQ10-like effect where they go into the mitochondria and they enhance mitochondrial function. And basically, which, long story short, means that whenever you eat calories, whether it's protein, fat, or carbohydrates, you're more easily able to transform those calories into cellular energy, also known as ATP, that ATP molecule, adenosine triphosphate. So Shilajit, one of the reasons that people love it so much is because it's actually helping them create energy out of food. So in a sense, it's almost like, it's not necessarily a digestive system tonic in the sense that it has a lot of direct actions in the GI tract, but in the sense that the end of digestion is really the point at which these calories are transformed into energy, right? So it's the end point. Once all your macronutrients have been broken down and absorbed, right, and separated from all the other parts of the food, they have to get into the cell, and then the cell has to transform them into ATP. So that's where Shilajit is working. Yeah, we do ship all over. Yeah, absolutely. How to keep being human. What do I mean by that? Yeah, so I kind of started off, and we're, Gino, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly there, but yeah, how to keep being human. Basically, we have made ourselves less and less human by creating all these different technologies, and by technologies I'm including electronics that create EMFs, even technologies that allow us to be indoors all the time, right, where we don't have to go out and be in nature. Also chemical engineering, all the weird chemicals that we use, all the different preservatives and just the weird chemicals and the heavy metals that are floating around. These are all disrupting normal human behavior and normal human physiology, right? So that's what I mean by how to keep being human, is how can we actually restore our humanity or continue being human and resist whatever technologies or anything else that might be in some way diverting us away from our humanity. You know what I mean? Like, do any of you guys know, for example, do you know certain people who are really, really, really into technology? Maybe like a software engineer? No, just on software engineers. They're awesome. I know some great software engineers who are just really awesome people. But, people who are just obsessed with tech, right? And they just live in the tech world, right? Everything is code to them, right? There's certain elements, that folks like that they tend to sort of lack. Because they're so disconnected from nature. So getting back in touch with nature is the main thing. And also your own human nature. What's good for thyroid? Well, yeah, there's a lot of ways to support natural thyroid health. Let's see here. Irish moss that we sell, that has natural iodine in it. But there's many different sea vegetables also you can get. And yeah, there's some outside the box thyroid stuff too you can check out. Anthony William, Medical Medium, he's got some interesting stuff where he talks about thyroid function and its connection to the immune system and different pathogens, things like that. A lot of different ways to look at thyroid for sure. But yeah, generally speaking, nutrient-wise, iodine, which you can take iodine by itself, or you can take it in Irish moss. You can take it in different kinds of sea vegetables, bladderwrack, etc., kelp. Iodine is really important because it is structurally part of the actual thyroid hormone molecule. Another one is the amino acid tyrosine. You need tyrosine to build the thyroid hormone as well. So a lot of people like to take tyrosine. Tyrosine is kind of a cool one too, because you not only need it for thyroid hormone, but you actually can generate dopamine out of it. So tyrosine is an amino acid precursor to dopamine. And just for y'all who don't know, dopamine, if you don't know what it is, it's the first two letters, the D and the O in dopamine, that actually tell you what it does. It's all about doing. So when you have adequate dopamine, when you have healthy levels, then that makes sure that you are able to basically get her done, so to speak, to use a Texas term. But yeah, so basically it's about focus, motivation, and doing, right? So if someone is feeling unmotivated, unfocused, then they might want to support dopamine levels. So tyrosine, excellent for both dopamine and also thyroid health. But yeah, many different ways of looking at thyroid health. I won't get too medical on here, but I will say, like, if you do want to look in that, try to find a more holistically minded licensed healthcare practitioner, whether it's one of the more holistic MDs, or whether it's a naturopathic doctor, an ND, or an acupuncturist like myself who's familiar with this stuff. Somebody who is a licensed medical practitioner who can actually, but who actually knows how to use natural things, if at all possible. That's going to be your best bet. What is detrimental to the thyroid? Well, actually, that's a great question. If you look at the periodic table, look where iodine is. There's a column in the periodic table, right? And that column is all the things in that column are called halogens, or most of them. They're called halogens, right? They have similar properties. The periodic table is arranged where the different columns, they tend to have similar properties in different ways, right? And some of the other ones that are in that same column of halogens alongside iodine are actually bromine and fluorine, right? So some of the compounds that you might find, for example, well, obviously in the water, right? Fluoride. So fluoride is an endocrine system disruptor. It can definitely have negative effects on thyroid health. So making sure that you're filtering that out of your water is important. And then bromine, I think, that can, not sure how much they use that to treat water or not. So feel free to correct me or tell me or school me if you know. But for sure, you are going to find bromine in water. And then, of course, chlorine, right? You're going to find that in water in your swimming pool, sometimes in your drinking water to some extent too. So those can all disrupt your thyroid health. And then there's the outside the box thing about, Epstein-Barr virus and things like that affecting thyroid health. That's going to be, again, more on the medical medium side. So that's something you can look into as well if you're interested in that. But yeah, lots of ways to support thyroid health for sure. Let's see here. What else we got? Coconut oil could too. Yeah, coconut oil is great. Coconut oil is really cool. I don't necessarily recommend huge amounts of it. I'm not super into like the ultra high fat keto thing. If that works for you, that's great. Not trying to diss on keto, but I think having a little bit more of a balanced diet where you're not mega dosing on fat is good. But coconut oil is fantastic. One of the reasons it's so great is because it has lauric acid in it, and lauric acid helps it turns into monolaurin, and monolaurin is a nutrient that's very important for the immune system. So coconut oil does have some kind of immune benefits, so that's really cool. Let's see here. What else we got? Drink spring water versus tap water. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, don't be messing with tap water for sure. What's the best way to filter your water? I use a Berkey, and I have the fluoride filter attachments on there. I think that's a really good way. But yeah, however you want to do it. So I'm going to jump off here in a second, but I'm going to give a quick summary of the whole elemental thing, right? Just in case some of y'all weren't there. Yeah, thank you very much. Absolutely, glad to. This is a lot of fun. So first of all, before I do that summary, you can check out the if you're on live right now, just that pinned comment. It's got there's 2 coupon codes there, MD BOGO, if you want to get half off if you use 2 or more supplements. If you buy 2 or more supplements, or MD35 Life is going to be the one that gives you 35% off anything, lifetime discount. Yeah, so here's the basic idea. So you have Earth, right? Earth is going to be, and these are the ways to keep being human or to restore your humanity, right? So Earth is going to be earthing, connecting directly with the earth, making electrical contact, walking barefoot on the ground, etc. Or just getting out into nature and just being in nature, right? Fire is going to be sunlight, right? So making sure that you're actually getting sunlight onto your body within reason, right? That works with your complexion, etc. Not an excessive amount, but some sunlight. And also some into your eyes, not directly, obviously, by staring at the sun, but making sure that you're getting sun into your eyes, because there is research, again, that shows that those UV rays, they do need to hit your eyes in order for your endocrine system to function correctly, and also for your circadian rhythm and your reproductive health, your fertility and all that, very important. Water, clean water, lots of clean water, and then also the structured water that's naturally in fresh fruits and vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables, uncooked, very important. Not that you can also have cooked vegetables, of course you should, but having some amount of raw fruits and vegetables every day, very important for water and for hydration. And then air, right? So getting exercise, getting clean air, obviously, as clean as you can possibly muster anyway, with whatever, purifiers, etc. you can use. Getting outside, getting exercise outside, getting more air into your lungs, and then also doing breath work. And if any of you guys don't do breath work, then that's a huge one too. We do have, if you go to CHOQ.com/blog, you can type in things like breath work. I have a blog on breath work. You can type in grounding, have a blog on grounding, or I call it earthing in there. I have a blog on different ways you can use nature to boost your immune system. So there's a lot of cool stuff on there too. I'll just answer a couple more questions and then I'll probably jump off here. Any good oils for diffusing you know of? I mean, I like a lot of different oils. Off the top of my head, orange oil, lavender, rosemary is a really cool one for sure, but whatever you like. Yes, bring nature indoors. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and if you're into something like feng shui, for example, you don't have to learn formal feng shui. If you're more intuitive and you just kind of can sense the way that putting different things in your environment affects how you feel, just make sure that your place is arranged properly. Keep your place fairly clean and tidy. That has a huge effect too. What soap do I use? I use a lot of Dr. Bronner's. Sometimes I use this cool African black soap instead. But yeah, I'm, as you can imagine, really, really picky with all those different products. But yeah, so feel free to check out those coupon codes and the pinned comment there, or if you're on YouTube, it'll be in the description if you'd like. And we are going to be doing a lot more of these, so definitely stay tuned. I'll be answering lots of different technical questions. So if I didn't answer your question this time, definitely keep it in mind. Feel free to ask me anything on any of these, and I'll try to get to whichever ones I possibly can. And I will be back very soon, guys. So this was a lot of fun, and keep being human.